Hey, my name's Erica. Probably every girl in the world has experienced a breakup with a guy. Most often, I was the one to dump the guys first. But once, a guy was the first to leave me, and it was a very strange situation. My boyfriend once went out to take out the trash. When he came back, he said we were breaking up. At first, I didn't believe him, but it turned out he was quite serious. What happened while he was taking out the trash? This is exactly what I'm going to tell you about today. Make sure you watch this video till the end. Don't forget to like it. Well, I grew up in a very large family. I have 6 younger brothers and sisters. For as long as I can remember, I've always been my mom's main assistant. From the age of 5, I was already washing dishes, doing laundry, going to the grocery store and stuff. The older I got, the more responsibilities I had. By 12, my mom put almost all household chores on me. I came home after school, then I quickly did my homework and turned into a housewife. I cooked, cleaned, ironed, picked up the younger ones from kindergarten, fed them. At night, I was totally exhausted. I could barely get to bed and fell asleep like the dead. Once a month, I was so tired, I plucked up my courage and went to my mom to tell her I didn't want to do all the household chores anymore. But I saw she was also tired because small kids required a lot of time and attention. As a result, I always postponed this conversation. I looked at my friends and classmates with envy. I wanted to go to the movies and parties, for a walk, relax in the evenings, watch TV and movies, like them. But every time, I was pressed by my household duties. One day, I couldn't stand it and complained to my dad that my life was passing me by and I didn't see anything but home and school. I didn't even have friends because I didn't have any time to go anywhere with them and just talk. But my dad just called me a capricious, selfish girl who only thought about herself and didn't worry about her mom who had 6 other kids besides me. I could barely resist saying there was no need to give birth to so many kids if they couldn't cope with them. It's also not fair to deprive me of my childhood. It seems to me it was my household duties that became the main reason I chose to go to college in another city. When I told my parents about this, they were outraged. They said there was also a good place to study in our small provincial town. I was crying, and I convinced them I wanted to go there. Somehow they agreed. I think it was because one of my sisters, who was only 5 years younger than me, she had grown up and was able to play the Cinderella part brilliantly. I was so happy when I escaped from my home. I almost cried from happiness, thinking I would no longer have to spend my evenings in the kitchen or at an ironing board. Now I could walk, talk with friends, and do whatever I wanted. This life seemed like a fairy tale to me. I moved into a college dorm. My roommate was a girl who was in her last year. She spent most of her time with her boyfriend, and she appeared in our room not more than once a week. A perfect roommate. In fact, I lived alone, and I was incredibly happy about it. For the first time in my life, I didn't think about cooking and cleaning. I thought over the past years, I have developed an aversion and hatred for any kind of household chores, because even the very thought of them made my teeth grind with anger. Then I realized I didn't need to think about anything. The college management had already thought and done everything for me, so that I could live peacefully and never worry about such trivial things. First, there was a cleaning service in the dorm. Once a week a cleaner came to us. She cleaned the rooms and common areas, the kitchen, bathrooms, and toilets. Besides, there was a cafeteria on the ground floor where I could always buy ready-made breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Moreover, they were so tasty. I just threw away disposable dishes and I didn't have to wash anything anymore. I took my clothes to the laundry, and my things came back to me clean and ironed. Anyway, seemed like I had totally forgotten about all the torments of being a housewife. But it was too early to be happy. When I was in my 2nd year, I met Thomas. He was in the parallel group in my department. We often crossed paths when we had joint classes. At first, we just sat together and talked. Thomas was a funny and very smart guy. It was always interesting to talk to him. A couple of months later, he asked me out on a date and asked me to be his girlfriend. I agreed. I've never had any friends, and here comes a boyfriend, my first love and my first relationship. I didn't know how to behave correctly with guys. I mean, what I should and shouldn't do in a relationship. I was constantly afraid of spoiling something because of my inexperience, but Thomas always supported me and never reproached me for anything. One day, he decided to introduce me to his family. It turned out Thomas was the only son in his family. I was used to sharing the love and attention of my parents with 6 more brothers and sisters. I thought it was amazing to be the only child. Thomas's family home looked like a beautiful Instagram picture. Or rather, it was like a photo from a real estate website. It was just perfect, both outside and inside. They had a well-groomed lawn in the yard, flower beds, and a white wooden gazebo. It turned out that Thomas's mom maintained everything by herself. She was very careful with all the household matters. The house was sparkling with cleanliness. I mean, really. The interior was made in light shades, so the sunlight that poured into the windows reflected from all surfaces and created an impression you died and went straight to paradise. I looked around and my jaw dropped. I knew it was impossible to maintain such beauty in a house with small kids, as someone would constantly spill juice on the carpet, paint on the walls, tear off the handles of the cabinets. Thomas's parents seemed to me a little strict and reserved. They asked me a few questions about my family. They told me what Thomas was like when he was a kid, and of course, they showed me family photo albums. But Thomas's room surprised me the most. Unlike me, he didn't live in a dorm, so he was regularly at home, but his room looked like no one had ever been there for years. There were no scattered things. All the books and notebooks were in their places. There wasn't a speck of dust on the shelves. His clothes were sorted by colors and neatly packed in the wardrobes. No mugs or food packages on the table, just a computer and stationery. This room looked like an IKEA sample from the catalog. I would never have believed this was a young man's room. Without hiding my surprise, I shared with Thomas it was the first time I had seen such an ordered room. But he only laughed and admitted his mom had taught him to always keep everything neat and clean since childhood. When he was a kid, he always cleaned up his toys. He carefully made his bed. He put his clothes in the closet. Thomas was so used to maintaining order that he did many things automatically and couldn't imagine how to live otherwise. I thought if he saw my room in the dorm, he would be horrified. All my clothes were in one pile on a chair. My table was always littered with packages and crumbs from snacks, and I only made my bed if I knew my roommate would return to our room. Anyway, Thomas and I were absolute opposites in this regard. I never thought this could become a problem in our relationship, but anyway, Thomas suggested we move in together at our 1-year anniversary. He said he was tired of going to my place first and then to his home in the evenings. He said it would be much better to watch TV and movies, cook food, and then go to sleep together. Even then, I wasn't sure everything would go smoothly, but I agreed. After all, I love Thomas, and I hoped that after graduating from college, we would get married, which meant sooner or later we would start living together. So why not start living together now? Unfortunately, problems started the first week we lived together. I have already said Thomas and I were totally different in terms of cleaning and tidying the house. During my life in the dorm, I completely forgot how to cook, iron, wash dishes, and clean. But in our apartment, all the house chores fell on my shoulders again. Of course, Thomas was willing to help. Still, many people believe a girl normally does such things. But I didn't want to. Remembering my childhood, I fiercely rebelled against the house duties. I didn't clean my things. I forgot laundry. I bought ready-made food or semi-finished products. Thomas and I fought about it every day. Still, I couldn't get over myself and become a housewife again. One day, we had a serious fight, and Thomas decided he needed to cool down. So he went to take out the trash. He was gone for a long time, and I decided Thomas just needed some more time to recover. But I definitely didn't expect what would happen later. For some reason, Thomas looked happy and relaxed. He came into the kitchen smiling. Then he drank a glass of juice and said, "We were breaking up." What the heck? We'd been dating for more than a year and now we're breaking up because of some everyday problems? That's exactly the question I asked him. But Thomas replied he didn't want to live with a dirty and sloppy woman who wasn't even able to put her things in the closet and cook an omelet for breakfast. He said he knew a beautiful girl next door whom he met when he was taking out the trash. She invited him for a cup of coffee, and he was amazed how clean and tidy her house was. It turned out she loved order as much as Thomas did, and it was love at first sight. I couldn't believe what was happening, but Thomas decided everything for both of us, and in a flash, I found myself on the street with my things packed. It was time for me to go back to the dorm. A few months have passed. I've returned to my old life, but I still can't accept that my boyfriend, whom I loved so much, decided to break up with me because of such a trifle, and that he also found a replacement for me next to the trash yard. Which one of us was wrong in this situation? Thomas, who decided to break up with me because I didn't want to be a Cinderella again? Or me, because I couldn't overcome my hatred of household duties for the sake of my boyfriend? Text your answers in the comments below. If you enjoyed my story, make sure you like it and subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications not to miss new stories. Bye, everyone!